Damien Chazelle's First Man, the first man to land on the moon. You'd expect a lot of drama and entertainment from a Damien Chazelle film. But this film is a slow burner. The first half is a little slow, but the momentum builds up in the second half. And for this kind of a grand finale, you need that kind of a start. Damien Chazelle moves from his style of filmmaking in the first half. He is very restrained from his previous films, Whiplash and La La Land. But he comes back in full Damien Chazelle form in the second half towards the end. But still, this is a very restrained film from this young filmmaker. Not to take anything away from the film, this is an amazing film, The First Man, about Neil Armstrong and his journey to the moon. And we see several shots of the moon in the film throughout. This film makes us more curious to know about Neil Armstrong and his journey. This journey is predictable, inevitable. It is a classic hero's journey, laced with several problems, obstacles and struggles. And we know what's going to happen in the end. But we want to see the struggle again and again of a hero because it gives us great courage. And Neil Armstrong goes on this admirable journey with one expedition after another. Sometimes he tastes success, sometimes he tastes failures. But each space ride has been given a different treatment. Especially the last one is a wonderful treatment when he lands on the moon. So for space lovers, this is a joyride. One of the space rides is almost Kubrickian. Remember 2001, A Space Odyssey and the Blue Danube waltz? So here also there is a docking waltz, a scene where the docking scene is there and it's called the docking waltz in the soundtrack. It's almost a Kubrickian kind of space ride. But let me tell you that the core of this film is emotional. Claire Foy, who plays his wife, Ryan Gosling's wife, Neil Armstrong's wife in the film, is the actress who played the Queen in the Netflix series. And she is a fantastic actress. So they are husband and wife and they have a young daughter. And they lose their young daughter in the beginning of the film. And this takes a toll on Neil Armstrong's mind. He cannot forget her. And this loss drives him forward. Along with this loss, there are several other losses, several other lives lost of his colleagues. Several lives are lost on this almost impossible journey to reach the moon. But this makes Neil Armstrong more determined to reach his final destination. When so many lives are being lost, there is a public outcry against this expedition, against going on the moon, because the public starts to question at what cost. So many lives are being lost, so much money is being pumped into NASA, into this expedition, so much of taxpayers' money, and there are protests all over. But now Neil Armstrong is completely cut off from all this, and he is more determined to achieve the unachievable because of these losses. Because as he says in an earlier interview, when he is being interviewed by the selection committee as an astronaut who is going to make it to this team of flying experts or not, that he doesn't believe in exploration just for the sake of exploration. But when you are up there, your perspective changes. This is what Neil Armstrong says. So this is the first step of man onto the moon, but a giant step for mankind in terms of understanding the vastness of the universe. And Damien Chazelle has been able to create that awe and wonder in us. The film scores heavily on all technical departments. Damien Chazelle, a young, masterful director, cinematographer. The cinematography is superb, editing, the sound design, the production design, and special mention for Justin Hurwitz for a superb score after Whiplash, La La Land, and now The First Man. Claire Foy is just superb. She is a stronger actor than Ryan Gosling. She just communicates through her eyes, and she gets angry and tense because she knows that her husband might never come back. And a fantastic scene where Neil Armstrong is going on the moon and she tells him to tell the boys, you tell them and go that you might never come back. And she forces him almost to do this. And this is a fantastic scene, and Claire Foy is just communicating with her eyes. And also after Neil Armstrong comes back, after the landing, after he is welcomed back to Earth, he is quarantined. Everyone, the whole world is celebrating, but Neil Armstrong is kept in isolation for a period of time. And Claire Foy comes to meet him and they communicate through a glass between them. That's also another fantastic scene in the film. So Neil Armstrong has to sacrifice his life to achieve this mission of landing on the moon, because he knows and his family knows that he might never come back, and even NASA knows the chances are very slim. So he has to sacrifice his life for a cause, and all big deeds in life demand a sacrifice. He makes that sacrifice, but he comes back. So I predict at least 5 Oscar nominations for The First Man. Definitely in the categories of Best Actress, Best Music, in the category of Sound, and Best Film. These 4 categories I am predicting, but at least 5 Oscar nominations for The First Man. Mind you, it is not for normal, a very masala kind of a very dramatic kind of a audience. It is for people who love to watch all kinds of cinema. There is drama, there is subtle drama. The film picks up momentum, but if you want excitement and all the time, this might not be the film for you. But overall, it's a lovely journey, lovely experience. It gives you a feeling of awe and wonder to see the first man land on the moon. I always discuss with my students that as directors are growing older abroad, they are making better films. Look at Michael Haneke, Amour, Happy End, Martin Scorsese, The Wolf of Wall Street, Roman Polanski. All of the masters are in prime form. While in India, the opposite happens. As the director gets older, the film becomes worse and worse. But that was on a lighter note. On a serious note, Damien Chazelle is 33, but what a versatile filmmaker. He's made 3 films, but all very different from each other. Hats off to you, Damien Chazelle. Please subscribe to Cinema Satsang, share if you like our reviews, and go and watch The First Man for a moony experience.